Call number is 347-326-9741. I am Brian the Butcher Brown, and, jazzed for another show. Definitely looking forward to talking to people, dropping some MMA knowledge on the folks out there, We got 2 events this week, one tomorrow on Fuel TV, which I know I can't get, so I'll just be looking at the blogs out there. But, of course, help me do the heavy lifting, getting these previews all set up, ready to go, is the delicious one himself, Michael Dolan. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. And nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. What's up, brother?
What's up, Tubber?
What's going on?
Nothing,
man. What's going on? I missed you. It's been a week.
I know. I love the intro music. Can I have that all the time? I'd love my
Absolutely. Consider this one yours, okay? This is how you'll be introduced from here on out. Unless, of course, you have a really shitty week this week with the fantasy picks. So, there's a little bit of pressure added on for you to keep your intro music.
Well, there's always a distinct possibility I could shit the bed, so we'll see how it plays out.
Absolutely. And, of course, rejoining the program. I don't know when the last time he was actually on, because there was that hiatus when we all took a week off because of, as I spoke about last week, the fire at the house and stuff. I think Nick did the show the week before that, but I'm not too sure. But he's a changed man. He comes to us fresh-faced, with a new look on life. He's definitely going to be a better person from this moment on out. The one, the only, Nicholas Frank. What's up, Franco?
What's up, Deborah? I should have had you DJ at my wedding instead of the fat red-faced bastard that I paid $1,000 to do it.
I would have worn the fucking half shirt and just been rocking those beats with my bushy beard and some really nice rimmed sunglasses and just a headband to protect the fucking board from all the sweat pouring off my brow.
Fish your musk. That sounds excellent.
So how was the festivities, sir? How was the marriage? How was the wedding?
Good. Well, the marriage is on the rocks, but the wedding itself was, You had a good run. Yeah, it was a good run.
I'm going to lose the over on that one, then. I had you for 2 weeks. Fuck.
You gave it an honest try. The wedding itself was good. The day was good. We had nice weather, and, I'm happy all the planning and whatnot's over, but I'm glad that, we had a little party, people had a good time, and I'm glad that it's behind me, in all honesty.
Nice.
How's everything by you guys? I missed you guys. It's been about 3 weeks since I've been on the program.
Has it been that long? I couldn't remember. As you heard me, I was trying to fucking remember at the beginning of the show. My brain just collapsed. So I had to introduce Dolan because I was having a rough time.
Yeah, it was actually, I thought, Nick, wasn't it contractual? Nick was going to war for the contract, and they finally got it done. They franchised Franco. So he's back. I'm like Brock Lesnar with the new WWE contract. They only got me for 35 dates, so I got to miss here and there.
Oh, that's understandable. Yeah. So now is it Cauliflower for the year starting Nick Frank, or is it RotoExperts with the assistance of Nick Frank? I don't know. I don't know how it all fucking figures out, but I can't wait to see the moniker.
I want to confirm. Nick, confirm for us. Is Nick taking Justine's last name, or how does that work? Is it Nick Amici now? Negro, please. She started talking about that hyphenating the name and taking her name. I just said, listen, you got the wrong guy if you're trying to hyphenate your name. It's not happening.
Nice. At least you put your foot down. It's good. You have to.
Absolutely.
There's too much of that stuff going on.
Yeah. How's all by you, Dubs? How's everything going on over at the crib, all right?
Oh, it's fantastic. The house is, believe it or not, the house is still burned down.
Really? Wow.
It is yet
damn it.
No, my parents are still at the hotel and stuff, but I was telling Dolo before we went on the air, so hopefully they'll be having like a nice-sized trailer delivered onto the property that they can live in by the end of the week. I got to get a water line and a sewer line dug out for it so they can hook up and everything so they can live on the property while all this shit goes on, and eventually the house will be knocked down since it's completely ruined. And hopefully, a new one, I guess, will get built, and they can stay right here with it. So they won't have to shell out $200 a night for 2 hotel rooms, so it'll be nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, hopefully the help comes soon.
Yeah, well, once that happens, I think things will be a little bit easier because they won't have to keep running back and forth and shit, and they all look exhausted. Me, I feel good though, since my house was on property right behind them. I was fine. I'm still sleeping in my own bed, so anybody who was concerned about me, I'm okay. I've got my own water supply. I'm doing great, but you could still send me gifts if you would like to.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to. You guys know my history with. Sort of on the show. I'm just wondering where was Steve at the time the fire started? That's what I'm wondering. Does anybody know what fire started?
Oh, well.
Just wondering if he had an alibi about his whereabouts. I don't want to point fingers or anything. Did anyone confirm being with him?
He was supposedly sleeping, but I don't ever check on him because, well, I think that would be a little creepy, and then people would ask questions if I was caught upstairs in his room in the middle of the night. So I believe him. But
just throwing it out there.
All right. Well, guess what? You've got my eyebrow raised now too, and I think I'm going to bring this up and let somebody know about it because I didn't think of this beforehand. So I'm glad you're on the case, Franco.
Absolutely. My mind's always working. My mind's always working double shifts.
So if you see white hoods walking towards you, it's just Franco. Don't worry. Just keep it moving. If you're standing in the kitchen and you're under ooze at 3 a.m. scratching your balls drinking something and white hoods walk by, it's just Franco.
All right, I'll just wave out the window and be like, carry on. It's cool.
Yeah. You boys ready to get smacked around? We've got 2 events this week, so I should be able to wrap the season up this weekend a little bit early. We're going to wrap it up early so I can just coast for the rest of the year. I can take a few more weeks off. I got my honeymoon's coming up. Monday Night Raw is really heating up. The NHL playoffs are here, so I want to wrap this up this week.
Yeah, I know. I'm fucking here instead of watching the Devil game. This is how much I sacrifice for this show. It's a good thing we're making the big bucks.
Yeah, I got it on. You're a Devils fan, Doug? So I got it on the background.
Absolutely, I am. Yeah. So keep me posted, unless of course it's something miserable that I don't want to know.
Well, I have never been a hockey fan, but it looks like the Rangers are making a run here, so I've decided to be a Ranger fan this year. So that's all I'm planning.
Son of a bitch. You couldn't even... Why can't you jump on the Devils? The fucking New Jersey Devils, dude.
Yeah, but I don't know. Even from the little bit of hockey that I've watched, they're actually attacking this game a little bit. I just don't like the style that they play. It's like a little bit boring. I'd rather... it's the Rangers, dude. It's the Garden. They got so much juice in that building. Once they start going right, it's hard not to root for them.
I fucking don't like the Rangers.
The
I'd like
Devils
to see that
they're
place.
in the Prudential Center. There's some hardcore Devils fans, but it's just not the same. There's just not the same amount of juice for the Devils.
Dude, the Prudential Center is beautiful. Have you been there?
Yeah, no, I know.
It's fucking amazing.
Listen, when they play the Rangers there, it's going to be 50% Rangers fans.
I agree. I do agree. They have a hard time getting the seats when the Rangers fans are coming.
I'm a front runner.
That's all right. You can be. Well, not you are. Usually you are, but listen, come on. At least with football, you're not. With football, you're not. You definitely suffered for many years, just as myself with the 49ers. So, with everything else, yes, you're a front runner.
But I began liking them when they were good. That's why I started liking them in the first place. So, Chicago Bulls when I was a kid. I jumped on the Yankee bandwagon in the early 2000s.
Okay, good point. Good point.
Doug, he's a converted Yankee fan. He hopped on the Yankee bandwagon.
Yeah.
What did he used to be?
He was a White Sox fan his whole life.
Were you a White Sox fan?
Yeah, I was a White Sox. And then I kind of stopped. I stopped following it for a while. I didn't jump on the Yankees when they won all those titles. I started rooting for the Yankees probably like 03, 04.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
They got no title.
Well, they had already won like 19 titles when you decided to jump on board, so good for you.
Yeah, I just started. I just was watching them when I started rooting for them. Hey, it is what it is. Like Zeus.
That's all right. See, I don't know. See, I don't know what to say to that because when I'm new to a sport, I like to try to choose one of those shitty teams, and then I root for them. And that's what I did with the Heat when they were terrible. The 49ers are the only team that I followed because of greatness, because of Joe Montana. And then I jumped on when the Colorado Rockies came to the MLB. Boy, did I make the wrong choice there. I could have jumped on with the Marlins, had 2 World Series.
You're a Rockies fan? You wear purple, dude?
Yeah, I wear purple. Purple looks good on me, especially with my mangy red beard. It looks amazing.
What were you on that Larry Walker on Andres Galarraga bandwagon?
Andres Galarraga, Dante Bichette, Vinny Castillo. That was the shit, dude.
They had like 4 guys that hit 40 home runs, and they still couldn't make the playoffs.
They made. that's true. I can't argue, you know. They had that one World Series appearance, got swept, but hey, they finally did it.
Yeah. True that.
Well, no, all right. Listen, let's not talk about the crappy Rockies, who I believe are really far under 500 this year. Let's get into the MMA, because this is where I'm going to make my move, my comeback. How many events have we done so far, Franco?
I couldn't find the paper.
Okay, no problem.
I'm pretty sure we got 5 events down. We either have 5 or 6 down, and
right.
I think I'm up around somewhere between like 15 and 20 points on you guys, right around there. So you have an idea what the points are? No, I have them all written down. I just couldn't find the piece of paper. I'll find it before next show. After these 2 events, I'll have all the totals. But I remember it was around like 15 or 20 points. But I do have it written down.
Yeah, Dolo, I think you were in second, and then I was very close up your ass.
Don't you try to steal that.
You guys are basically fighting for second. That's what I'm saying.
Come on now. You have some faith. I almost caught you last time. I guess we'll jump in here at tomorrow, I think it is, right? On Tuesday of all days. UFC on Fuel with a main event pitting Chang Song-jung, the Korean Zombie, versus Dustin Poirier. Or Poirier, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not French. It seems like a French name to me. So this is the main event, and I want to throw it to Franco since he's the leader. I want him to lead it off. I want to see who you think is going to win this. Because this is for title eliminator. Next guy, whoever wins this gets to fight Jose Aldo next, correct?
I believe. I'm not sure if they've said that. I mean, that's sort of the assumption that I've made. It probably is sort of a thin division, but I think this is a solid matchup. I like the fact that they're using Fuel TV. It seems like they're using Fuel TV for guys that either are new to the UFC or for these lighter weight classes to sort of build some names at 125, 135, 145. Korean Zombie's been around for a little bit. He had the legendary fight with Leonard Garcia. I think it was in 2010. Last time out, he actually knocked Mark Hominick out in like 7 seconds. He's only 25 years old. Korean top team. He's a great grappler. He's a good striker. He's good all around. Dustin Poirier, 12-1. He's only 23 years old. He's 4-0 in the UFC. His biggest win was probably Josh Christie. He's won his last 2 fights by submission. So I think this is a relatively even matchup. I didn't even look at the odds. I'm not sure who's favored, but I've always rooted for the Korean Zombie. I think he is the bigger guy and the stronger guy. I think he's gonna want to turn this into a grappling match, and I'm gonna go ahead and take the Korean Zombie by unanimous decision.
Ooh, I agree with a lot of things you said. I just don't have the same result here. I think Poirier has proven that he is a tough kid. Like you said, he beat Josh Christie, who everybody was hanging off his nuts thinking he was the next big thing at 145 until he went on his, I think, 2-fight losing streak, and we haven't seen him back since. Poirier was his first loss, and then followed up with, I think, what's his name? I can't remember his name. It's not important to what I'm trying to say. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Poirier came out and nobody gave him a shot in that Grisby fight. He came out and beat the balls off of him. Definitely proved that he's a gamer. He's a tough kid. I agree with you. It's going to be a pretty evenly matched fight, but I just think Poirier is going to pull it out in the end, and I got Poirier winning a unanimous decision.
Very interesting, boys. I kind of like Poirier here as well. Like Nick said, he won 5 in a row.
Smart man.
He's extremely well-rounded. He's finished all but 2 of his fights thus far as his 12 victories. He's got 5 knockouts and 5 submissions. I just kind of think he's coming into his own here. I think he's actually going to catch the Korean Zombie, and I have Poirier with the second-round knockout.
Ooh. Wow, Dolo getting bold there.
I'm kind of sitting here just riding Franco's fumes. I'm not going to catch him just by sitting here and picking, like, UDs. I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
All right, good point. I like the aggressiveness. It could happen. I mean, he's been knocked out before, so, it definitely could happen. But I think the UD is a safe pick here. I don't think either one of these guys are going to end up finishing each other, but, we'll definitely see tomorrow. Moving on, the co-main event pits Ultimate Fighter winner Amir Sadallah versus the comedian George Lopez, nicknamed Lil Monster. So, Dola, who you got here? I don't know how this old fuck's going to hang with Amir Sadallah.
I don't know, man. Like, I really like Amir. He was really likable on The Ultimate Fighter, and that was actually his first pro fight on The Ultimate Fighter, and he finished each one of his victories to go on to win. I feel like the UFC wants him to do well as well, and he's performed. and he's always in a dogfight, but I just feel like when I pick him and I'm rooting for him, I'm just waiting for him to get caught sometimes. But I don't know. He did lose to Johnny Hendricks, Don Young Kim, and Dwayne Ludwig, so he's been in there with some good guys and had mixed results. He's 6-3. I do think he's going to win here. I think he's going to grind it out. It's going to be a typical Amir Sadala fight, but, George Lopez is going to go in there. He's going to bang. He's 0-1 in the UFC. He's a protege of Vanderlei Silva. So, for nothing else, this guy's going to go in there and give you a dogfight. So it's going to play to Amir's style, and I think Amir's going to pull it out, just a gutty, scrappy decision.
Lopez is definitely going to come out swinging. He's going to go into that retard windmill style that Wanderlei taught him. He's definitely going to want to take Amir's head off. I just, he's 11-2 overall, George Lopez, but I think Amir's going to gut this one out, like you said, and not for a unanimous decision. I think he's going to find his stride in the second round. The first round's going to be a little bit tough. They're going to be feeling each other out. But by the second round, I think Amir's going to get it to the ground, and I think he's going to choke out George Lopez, or whatever you want to say. So I got Amir Sadala winning by second round submission.
Yeah, I think George Lopez should come out to the Lowrider song that he does on his sitcom. Really confuse people. But Sadala, like Dolan said, I think he's a solid pro. He's 31 now. All of his fights have been in the UFC. The key wins: C.B. Dalloway, Phil Baroni, DeMarcus Johnson. Those are his biggest wins. He didn't take him down, didn't pound him out. And Lopez
counted me on twice.
Lopez, only 23 years old, lost to Justin Edwards the only time he really stepped up in competition. I don't really understand why this fight's on this card, in all honesty. If you're going to put Sadala on there, put him against the bigger name. This kid, Lopez, doesn't seem to be a big-time prospect, and to put him on the main card is a bit of a head-scratcher. But regardless, Sadala has yet to knock anybody out in his career or finish anybody by, a technical knockout either. So I'm going to go ahead and take him by technical knockout, just hoping that, I think he's going to overwhelm him. And I have Sadala, second-round knockout.
I think that's a solid pick, but I was too pussy to take it. I was way too pussy. And you know what? Remember when I was too pussy to take Donald Cerrone and he finally got his first one? So yep. I think that's a good pick. You're probably going to get that one right, Franco, and it's going to fuck me and Dolo even more. Moving on, I mentioned Donald Cerrone just a second ago. He's fighting on this card as well. Donald Cerrone is going to be fighting Jeremy Lil Heathen Stevens. And Franco, I love the Cowboy, but I want to hear your feelings on this fight first.
Sure. Whenever I think of Donald Cerrone, I think about, I forget what fight it was, the guy that coached on Rashad's team in The Ultimate Fighter, when he was in the corner board before Donald Cerrone's fight, he's like, "Get him, Donald Cerrone!" Every time I think of Donald, you guys remember that?
No.
Does anybody remember that, or is that just me?
That might just be you, dude.
But he definitely said it. It was like right before one of his fights. But regardless, that's all. Anytime I hear Donald Cerrone, I hear that guy's like, "Get him, Donald Cerrone!"
I wish I heard that. That's fucking
Frank, how many times do you say it?
I'm sure you can find it. If you knew what that guy's name was, you could find it, because the nerds on the chat board have talked about it before. Anyway, I like
I'm searching
Cerrone.
for as soon as I get off the phone tonight.
I like Cerrone. I always pick him. It's a tough fight for him. Jeremy Stevens. I think I go over the stats. Jeremy Stevens real quick. 20-7. He's fought some middle to upper tier guys like Dean Thomas, Cole Miller, Spencer Fisher, Joe Loazon, Melvin Gillard, Marcus Davis, Anthony Pettis. So not necessarily title caliber guys, probably right below that. He's had a lot of fights against those guys in various weight divisions. I think the difference in this fight, I think Nate Diaz took some confidence from Cerrone in that last fight. I think Cerrone's a guy that needs to fight angry. He needs to fight confident, sort of bully people and go forward. I don't think he was able to do that against Nate. He looked like, he looked intimidated at a certain point. And, Stevens is a guy that packs a big punch. I think if he lands on him early, Cerrone could be in trouble, because I think Cerrone is known to have been a slow starter in some other fights. And I think Stevens really, sort of needs this win to stay relevant. So I'm actually taking Jeremy Stevens' first-round knockout.
Oh, wow. Jesus. You dropped a bomb there. I didn't think you'd pick that. Obviously this is definitely a fight I did zero research on, and I'm going to tell you why, because I'm a big Donald Cerrone fan, okay? The only time I can pick against a guy like Donald Cerrone is when he's fighting one of the other guys I really like with a Nate Diaz. I picked Nate over that. But as for this, of course I'm going to pick Cerrone. Come on. Jeremy Stephens is definitely a tough guy. I don't see Donald walking through him, but I think what's going to happen is it's going to be kind of a back-and-forth fight, and by the third round, Donald's going to get him down, and he's going to submit him. So I got Donald Cerrone winning by a third-round submission.
Very interesting, both of you creeps. I feel like this is, time for Cerrone to basically come and either go to the next level or maybe become a fighter that becomes a gatekeeper or just kind of goes off into the distance. I do agree with Nick as far as what Nate Diaz may have done to Cerrone and really just picked him apart at will. I want to see how Cerrone responds to that. I mean, the guy fought 5 times last year, went 4-1. And I think he's going to bounce back. I like Stephens. I agree with Nick. If he catches Cerrone, it could be over quick. But I felt like Nate Diaz hit Cerrone a lot and hit him hard plenty of times, and he didn't go down. So I did give him credit for taking the beating. And I just think that he's too big for Stephens. And I think at this point, between the two of them, who's going to be more of that lower level, like Nick said, it's the top of the rest of the heap outside of 155. I think that Cerrone's the guy that's going to belong there and be there for a little bit. He's still like 27 years old. So I have Cerrone gutting out a decision. Stephens always game, big power, good wrestler. And I just think that they're going to basically trade for 3 rounds, and I see Cerrone winning with the reach.
Nice. I definitely agree with Donald Cerrone winning that fight. Next fight pits Yves Tiger Jabouin versus Jeff Hellbound Hoogland. This is an interesting fight. I really don't know that much about them, but doing a little research, Hoogland definitely got off to a rough start in his MMA career. He started out winning his first fight and then lost his next 4, but hasn't lost since. He's on a 9-fight winning streak. He's definitely a gamer. I've only seen him fight once, but he definitely looked good when I seen him. So I really wasn't sure who to go with because I don't know that much about either guy overall. So I'm just going to take Hoogland winning unanimous decision. What do you think, Franco?
I'm sorry, who'd you take? Hoogland?
Hoogland, yes. Hellbound. Hoogland.
I'm laughing at Dolizo. Dolizo in the chat room says, Nick Frank is already ignoring his wife and doing the show. It made me laugh.
Franco played softball 2 days after his wedding, Sunday morning.
I played softball yesterday, and there's 2 MMA events this weekend. So,
welcome to the rest of your life.
But like I said, the marriage is already on the rocks.
Nice.
I'm coming to you live from my car.
that was pretty much said it all. As far as Hoogland losing for his first 5, Jabouin, he's 2-0 at 135. Most of his early career fights were at 145, where he struggled a little bit. So, I think since moving down to a more natural weight class, he's 2-0 in the UFC. He does have 11 knockouts from Canada. He's fought Jonathan Brookins, Sam Sapp, Mark Hominick. He lost all 3 of those guys, but he fought them. I think Hoogland's got a great ground game. I've seen each of these guys fight 1 time, so this is not really the most educated pick. But going over the records and seeing opponents and everything like that, and the fact that Jabouin has been submitted 3 times and Hoogland has 7 submissions, I'm taking Hoogland second round sub.
Very interesting. I really didn't know much about either of these guys. I'm not going to lie. I think I had seen them each fight once as well, like Nick had said. So I kind of was digging and doing research. I just kind of liked Jabouin because of who he had fought. Like Nick said, Hominick, Stout, Brookins. He was in those fights. I think he may have gotten finished in one of them, and the other 2 were decision losses. So I don't know. I just think that I had no clue really what was going on with either of these guys, and I took Jabouin second round knockout.
I like it. We were all very scientific with that one.
Hard-hitting analysis. You get a cauliflower for the ears.
Well, we don't know. We just fucking guess people, all right?
You got decision dubs? I'm sorry, Dola?
No, I have a second round knockout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No decisions here, sir.
No. The next fight, because it's 6 fights, right? That's what I look at. Okay. All right. The next fight pits... Huh? Was somebody going to say something? I'll give you Igor Pakrojak versus Fabio Maldonado. Last time we seen him, he was fighting Kyle Kingsbury. Dolo, who do you think is going to win this fight?
I actually have Maldonado with a first-round knockout in this fight.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Will I steal your thunder?
Yeah. I guess I should have first.
He's pretty heavy-handed. He's got 13 knockouts and 2 submissions. As a pro boxer, he was 22-0 with 21 knockouts, Maldonado. So I just felt like the hands were going to go off early. My man Igor trains with Crow Cops and those crazy bastards. You've all seen how they get down with, playing jokes with AKs and stuff. I've posted the video. But he's going to be a game fighter. He's 24-8, so very, very experienced. I just think Maldonado's going to be too much. He's going to catch him first round like that.
That's on fucking hidden camera over in Croatia. So, that's a great country over there. That's what they do. They shove fucking guns in your face and make you shit your pants. I agree with you, Dolo. I got Maldonado winning first round KO, too, because, like I said, last time we see him was against Kyle Kingsbury. And Kingsbury was definitely getting beat up as his body. He was working the body really hard. Maldonado in that fight, and Kingsbury was lucky to get out of there and not crumple to the mat. But Maldonado could have just fucking threw a couple body shots and a combination to the head or something like that. I think Kingsbury would have been in a lot of trouble. So, I don't know. I think he's definitely going to beat Igor, and I think he's going to catch him in the first round as well. I got Maldonado first round KO.
Oh, my God. You two are horrible.
Really?
I got
Igor?
I got Igor first round knockout.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, Maldonado, Fabio bitch-tipped Maldonado. Not really into it. I mean, he's obviously a tough guy. Kingsbury was sort of green when they fought. I think he allowed Maldonado to stay in the fight. And Maldonado definitely showed some...
Kingsbury.
definitely showed some grit, but, I was actually... when you look at Fabio Maldonado's boxing record, I actually saw a list of all the opponents. Most of them were like 0-0, 0-1, 2-3. Like, he never fought anybody decent. Like, they were all, it was like their first professional fight. So he wasn't fighting like top-level boxers. He obviously had boxing skills, but I saw Igor, he retired Krzysztof Szynski. I saw that fight. Krzysztof was actually getting off on him. But it was a brutal first-round finish. He also defeated James Irvin. I've seen him fight a couple times. He's a finisher. Maldonado's definitely got more technique, but I think this Pakrojak. Did they even have to pronounce his last name?
I say Pakrojak, but it's probably Pakrojak. Or Yak.
I've seen him fight 3 or 4 times. He's a beast. He's a finisher. It's always an exciting fight. Maldonado's going to want to box with him. I think Pakrajak's going to get him up against the cage early on, and I have Igor with a first-round knockout.
Damn. Well, at least we know.
It really gained some ground. We got a lot of different picks.
Well, that's what we're hoping for. We need to catch your ass this week. So let's see what happens with this next pick. We got last fight of the night. Well, first, actually, technically, but the way we do it. Last fight. Jason McDonald, the athlete McDonald, I'm sorry. I don't want to forget his nickname, versus Tom Filthy Lawler. Dola, who you got here?
I actually, there's another fight on this?
Yeah.
All right, well, you two go then.
I'll go first.
I'll
go first, all right.
Piggyback off all yours.
All righty then. Well, like I said, it pits Jason the Athlete McDonald versus Tom Filthy Lawler. And, of course, Tom Lawler was a competitor on The Ultimate Fighter. He's definitely had his ups and downs in his career with the UFC. He wins one, he loses one. He alternates wins and losses. I definitely think he's a fairly talented fighter. He's never going to be, like a superstar, but he has great ring entrances, and that alone will always keep me to be a fan of his. And I honestly think that we all know Jason McDonald announced that he's going to retire after this fight, so obviously McDonald's going to try to come out and do whatever he can to go out on top. And, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Lawler's going to end up gutting out a unanimous decision here.
Yeah, just basically for the reasons that you said, Dubs. I'm actually going ahead, and I'm going the other way. I'm taking McDonald with the decision.
Ooh.
He's been around forever. I'm not going to go through all the guys he's fought. His last time out, he lost to Alan Belter. 36 years old. He did announce that this was going to be his last fight. Tom Lawler's a tough fighter, mid-level fighter. Doesn't do anything great, but doesn't do anything terribly. Sort of similar to McDonald. McDonald's a little bit bigger. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Tom Lawler maybe at 170 possibly. But regardless, I think this is an evenly matched fight. If it weren't the fact that this was McDonald's last fight, I'd probably give Lawler the edge. But I think this is basically a pick-em fight. I like Jason McDonald. He's been around for a long time in the UFC. He made his pro debut in 1999. There's not many guys still fighting that had fights in the 90s. So a little bit of nostalgia. So I'm taking Jason McDonald with the decision.
Solid pick. It's definitely a coin flip. Dolo, now that you've heard all that fucking hard-hitting analysis, what do you think?
I just feel like now I'm just completely caught up, and I've seen a million of these guys' fights now. I appreciate it. No, you know what? I'll go for the underdog story as far as, I like to see with guys like, Chris Lytle when he went out against Dan Hardy. Last fight, they leave it all on the line. Like Nick had said, McDonald's fought since 1999. This is the last time he's going to do it. I figured he'll throw down. What the hell? I'll go McDonald decision.
Oh, you said no decisions, you lying sack of shit.
You lying bullshit artist.
Frank.
Bullshit. No, it's definitely a coin flip. You can't go wrong. But I think Tom Lawler, he's younger. He's got more in the tank. I know McDonald's going to be amped up, but I just think Lawler's going to take it. But even if he doesn't, it's going to be interesting to see the way he comes out to the octagon tomorrow night. But moving on. We also have ourselves on Saturday the conclusion to the pointless Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix. So, now, because obviously we all know they dissolved the heavyweight division in Strikeforce, so this Heavyweight Grand Prix really proves nothing because there's nobody left for these two men to fight. But anyway, it's going to be a great one. The main event for this Saturday's card is going to pit Josh, the War Master Barnett versus Daniel Cormier. Oh, man. Daniel D.C. Cormier. I definitely have a fairly strong opinion how this is going to end, but I want to hear how Franco thinks that this Grand Prix is going to conclude.
Yeah, this is actually. I'm always like a Strikeforce fanboy, but I think they put on great cards. They put good fights together. I'm more excited for this fight than for the UFC card tomorrow night. For this particular fight and the card, there's 3 really solid fights on here. I wish they gave you more. They're only giving you four fights on Showtime, but if you have Showtime Extreme, you can get the undercard. But I wish they give you 5 or 6.
They're not giving the Jesus Cavalcante fight? I thought they were giving 5. No?
Nah, it's 4.
Ah, all right. Let me cross him off my list. Fuck that guy.
4.
All right.
But anyway,
sorry to interrupt.
No problem. I saw actually Daniel Cormier was on the Boss Rutan MMA show. Inside MMA. It's on every Monday night. I always watch before the show. So I think they're still planning, like, the winner that's still going to get that Strikeforce fight against a mystery opponent. They keep saying it might be Fedor or something. I'm not sure.
Fedor.
So they're going to have this fight and then one more fight in Strikeforce and then basically come over to the UFC. But this is a tough one. I like both these guys a lot. Barnett, obviously, we've done a couple of his fights, so I'm not going to go through all the guys he's fought. He's basically fought everybody in the sport. He's beaten most of them, 31-5. The thing that surprised me about these two guys is Barnett's only a year older. Barnett's 34 and Cormier's 33. Barnett's been in the sport for so long and has so many fights, and Cormier's relatively, young to the sport. That really shocked me because you think of Cormier as like this up-and-coming kid, and Barnett is this veteran. They're basically the same age. Barnett's won 8 in a row. Cormier's 9-0, never lost. Big height difference is going to be a reach difference. Big wins, obviously, for Daniel Cormier were Jeff Munson and Bigfoot Silva in his last couple fights. Fighting out of AKA, there's a lot of AKA guys on the card Saturday, so they're going to probably have a lot of fanfare at the event. And I just think that Barnett, he's only been knocked out twice. One time actually was he tapped a strike. So he's got a good chin. He's been there with some good strikers, but he's never been in there with a guy like Cormier who has the wrestling chops that Cormier has. Cormier can basically decide where he wants to fight. He's a better wrestler, and I think he's got more knockout power on their feet. So, I think Cormier is going to be able to keep the fight standing for long enough to land his right hand, and I'm taking Daniel Cormier's second-round knockout.
Wow, that's bold. That is very bold, considering the fact, like you said, Barnett's only been knocked out a couple of times. One of those was to a technical knockout shoulder injury as well. So, Barnett's been around forever, dude. I don't know if I agree with you that Cormier has the better wrestling pedigree. Barnett's been a wrestler, before he went into MMA, he's been probably the best wrestler in MMA for this long of a time. His grappling and everything is definitely some of the best out there. He has, technically, he was given a black belt in jiu-jitsu by his jiu-jitsu coach, who just came into the gym and saw what he could do submission-wise, that he taught himself through submission grappling and everything, and said he was worthy of a black belt. So, I mean, the guy has put the work in with his wrestling game, his submission game. I think Barnett is going to do what he wants to do. He's going to take it to the ground, and even though Cormier's got the wrestling pedigree, he's going to try to work out of it, and he's just going to fall into a trap with Barnett. So I actually think Barnett's going to beat Cormier in the second round by submission.
Man, I'm so pissed. I thought I was not a genius in my pick, but I did the same, actually. I have the second round sub for Barnett. But it's funny, I come to my end conclusion a little differently than Dubs, because although I agree Barnett is just, manhandles people and has probably the best wrestling in MMA, there is no wrestler in MMA the level of Daniel Cormier, dude. He's an Olympian.
That's a good point.
Like, I think, there's a difference between MMA wrestling and wrestling. We've all said that. But what bridges that gap, if it's in contrast to, like, time served, he's only had 9 fights, it's the elite level of wrestling that makes up for that. But it just doesn't seem to matter for guys who fight Barnett. We say it all the time. Every time somebody fights Barnett, we know what's going to happen. He trips them, and he lands either side control or mount, and he ends it. I don't think it's going to happen that quickly. I just think that his experience and ability to take a punch is going to give him enough time to eventually to take Cormier down. I love Cormier. I was the only one who took him in the Bigfoot Silva fight, so I definitely thought he was ready for this level. I just think that Barnett poses to be too much at this point, but, Cormier is only 9-0. So I have Barnett with a second-round sub because I think he'll wear him down, weather the storm. So I got the same as Dubs.
That's smart, Mike. That's the way to go. I think, Franco, it's definitely, a possibility if Cormier lands that hand, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to do it. But,
I'm sorry. I definitely don't think it's going to be easy. You get a feeling when you watch certain guys in interviews and in fights. I think that Cormier, I just feel like he's got it. Wasn't really a believer. I was always a big Antonio Silva fan, and then after what he did to Silva, I started kind of just following him a little bit more, taking him a little bit more seriously. Like, he just seems like he has that killer instinct. He's got extreme confidence. He was basically saying, Barnett's not going to take me down. I take my wrestling very seriously. There's no way I'm going to let him take me down. Now, that's not to say that Barnett's not going to be able to take him down, but I think this kid is starting to come into his own, and I think he's going to be one of the best in the world. No, that's not to say that Barnett can't catch him. He definitely can. I just, the more I watch this kid, the more I feel that, he really believes that he's one of the top guys.
No, I definitely think he's headed in that direction. I think he's proven that he deserves to be discussed in the top 10. I think, like in a lot of the rankings, he's ranked either 8th or 9th. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. He's certainly beaten dudes that a lot of people didn't think. I didn't even think Cormier was going to be able to beat Jeff Munson, and what an idiot I looked like when that fight happened. So, and then again, I picked against him with the Bigfoot Silva. I just don't know, those two guys, aren't what Josh Barnett is. I mean, Munson's been around forever.
Yeah, but he didn't struggle with either of them, though. It's like
True.
He's definitely never fought anybody as good as Barnett, but that still doesn't mean that he can't beat him.
I definitely agree with you, but I mean, I would be shocked if he does, but at the same time, then I would go, that's what I get for doubting this guy again. It'd be one of those sort of realizations for me on Saturday night. But I don't know. I just think Josh Barnett, like you pointed out, he's still a fairly young guy overall for as long as he's been in the sport too. So I don't think, he's breaking down. Plus, we all know he's had some extra training juice back in his day. So I'm sure his body's a lot healthier than a lot of other 34-year-olds who's been in the sport as long as him. So
I just hope that no matter what happens, I hope both these guys wind up in the UFC because I think they're both top 10 and both that division's getting deeper and deeper. So I hope Barnett's had his problems with Dana White in the past, but they seem to have sort of gotten past it. I think no matter what, even if Cormier looks terrible, he's still going to be in the UFC because his camp has ties there. And, he's just, young and important, talented. I hope that they both wind up there, no matter what happens.
I definitely agree with you. I think Cormier is definitely in. They seem to have softened on Barnett. They said definitely if he wins, they can't see how they would keep him out. So, but I don't think if somehow Cormier beats Barnett, unless it's something embarrassing like a flash knockout in the first round, that they're going to not bring Barnett over. I think that everything is kind of cooled off between them, because when you see them at events, a lot of times Josh Barnett's sitting with Dana White nowadays, laughing and joking. So I don't think Dana hates him. I just think they hated what he did back in the day when he pissed hot after beating Couture. So and then he fled the country. So I think that's all water under the bridge. So I agree with you, Franks. I hope they're both in the UFC no matter what. But I guess we should move on because we're getting low on time. The co-main event pits Gilbert El Nino Melendez defending his lightweight title against Josh the Punk Thompson. Now, I know last week they were saying that Josh Thompson hurt his knee. This fight's still going on, right, Franco?
Yeah.
I never even heard. You never even heard that? Yeah.
With the wedding, it should have really been on the news. I hadn't heard that, but as I was looking today, the fight was still on for all I know.
Okay. All right, well, that was the last thing I heard about, and then I saw that it was still on and everything, and I was like, oh, maybe I missed a press release or something. But last I heard, Josh Thompson hurt one of the ligaments in his knee, but he was looking forward to try and tough it out and win that belt back. So I don't know what to think of this now, because I already thought Gil was going to win. And, if he's actually seriously injured, I don't know how much of a test he's going to be, but I want to hear what you boys think. So, Dolan, who do you think is going to win this fight?
We all know the story with Gil. He's won 6 straight. His last loss was actually to Josh Thompson in 2008. So Gil's a great wrestler, a tough guy, likes to bang. I don't think he's bored, but I think he's just at such a level over a strike force. It's afforded him the opportunity to be able to kind of work on his striking and try different things and grow as a striker because he had a wrestling base. But, I mean, he's a stud, dude. We all know the debate, should he be over at one in the UFC, and apparently BJ Penn turned down a fight against Gil, so we're left with Josh Thompson, who is extremely formidable. I hope the knee injury isn't something that's too serious and actually impacts the fight, because I think he'll have a hard enough time as is against Gil Melendez. So I'd like to see him actually be able to go in at a full chance. But he's certainly a game fighter, just came off a win against KJ Noons, but I just don't see him being the guy coming in and stopping Gil. I had Gil via decision, but if Thompson's actually hurt, I mean, maybe I'll go, I'll go Gil second round knockout.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. If that was serious, or if he's just trying to play mind games with Gil, I don't know. I definitely thought they were going to go to war. I originally have Gil down for a unanimous decision. I think Gil's definitely going to do it again, but both times these guys fought have been pretty entertaining, and I just don't know how serious that report was. It was actually an interview done with Josh Thompson, I think on SB Nation or one of those websites. So I can't. And it was BJ Penn put the article up on bjpenn.com, but it was through another site. That's how I saw it. But like I said, I don't know if it's supposed to be head games or not. I think I'm going to keep my original pick, Melendez UD, but I agree with you, Dolo. If he's being serious about being hurt, it could end a lot sooner than that. So, I'm still going to stick with my answer, though, Melendez unanimous decision.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dubs. I got Melendez unanimous decision. I think, Melendez actually has he had 11 knockouts. I think he only has 1 submission. So, it's normally either a knockout or a decision. He's a really talented fighter,
right,
but he tends to play that wrestling game and dominant position. And, he's definitely not a boring fighter, but he can give you one of those grind out. Almost every other fight, it's like a grind out decision win where he's dominant, but, he never really gets the other guy in trouble. So that's what I kind of see coming here. Thompson, this is their third fight. Thompson won the first one, then Melendez came and avenged it and got his belt back. Thompson was off. He was on the shelf for a little while for 2010, then he didn't fight again until 12 because of an injury, and said he wasn't happy with his performance against KJ Noons. But, you mentioned that BJ Penn turned the fight down with Melendez, which is a little bit strange. Maybe he just felt, maybe he felt like he couldn't beat him. Maybe he didn't want to cut to 155. Maybe he felt like Melendez didn't have enough big enough name for the risk he was taking. Regardless, if they can't set up one of those kind of fights for Melendez, this is really the last somewhat interesting fight for him in Strikeforce. And the only reason this one's interesting is because Thompson is the last man to beat him, so they can play that angle up as the trilogy. Each guy's 1-1. You know, Thompson still is 18-4. He's not a chump. But, you know, after this, they're really out of ideas unless they bring in Eddie Alvarez or figure something out. But Thompson's incredibly tough. Melendez is just much stronger. He's a much better wrestler. He's just a better fighter at this point. So I'm taking Gil by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a safe pick. Gil looks better every time out, and you know, like I said, I don't know how serious it is, but if it is a serious injury, I think Dolo's probably going to get the extra points on this one. But we'll have to see Saturday night how Josh Thompson looks. The next fight on the card pits Rafael Feijão Cavalcante, the former 205-pound champion, versus Mike Mack Kyle. I don't know much about Mike Mack, but like I said, Cavalcante held the belt. But Franco, how do you see this one going?
I think this is probably the most exciting fight of the night. Feijão, 11-3, 4-2 in Strikeforce. Lost to Henderson in a fight that he was in that fight before he lost. He beat who did he beat for the title?
King Mo. He took the title from King Mo. Yeah.
Yeah. He knocked him out in this last round.
Okay. He actually lost to Mike Kyle earlier in their career. Mike Kyle this season. Mike Kyle's actually one of my favorite fighters to watch in Strikeforce. He's 19-8 now, 12 knockouts. Also at an AKA with, you know, Cormier and Thompson. All these guys are fighting on the main card. Only 3-3-1 in Strikeforce, but he kind of bounced around. He was in Strikeforce, then he went on the Independents, and he came back. But he's 6-1 over his last 7, and his only loss was to Bigfoot Silva in a fight he took in about a week's notice at heavyweight, and he dropped Silva, and Silva wound up recovering and finishing him. But he was about, you know, 1 or 2 punches away from finishing Bigfoot Silva. This guy's a lot tougher than people give him credit for. A lot of people haven't seen him fight a bunch of times, like you just said, Dolan. I'm sorry, Dubs, but I've taken Mike Kyle first-round knockout.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I think that's a definite possibility. I think I see this ending in a knockout either way. Like, that's the only thing I looked up about him, because I haven't really seen Mike Kyle fight before. But obviously, like you pointed out, and that's the one thing I was reading about. He fights at heavyweight and light heavyweight. Obviously, he fought Bigfoot Silva, and that's my only other note written down was that he's beaten Cavalcante earlier in both their careers. So, but I think Cavalcante is going to avenge that loss, and they're both going to come out swinging and trying to hurt each other. But I got Cavalcante winning this fight by second-round knockout.
I just feel like Cavalcante is probably the best light heavyweight left. You know, he lost to Henderson and beat King Mo, like you guys had said, and 205, as like every other division, has been getting plucked by the UFC. So I just feel like with all these guys gone, that you know, Feijão's the best one left. But again, it's not to discount Mike Kyle. I mean, he's a beast. He loves to bang. So I just think they're going to stand and throw down. I think it's going to go quick. I do think Feijão's going to take him down, though. I have Feijão first-round knockout.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think he's going to avenge his loss, and I like this. We're kind of picking against Franco together here on a lot of these picks. So I definitely like the fact that you and I seem to be sticking together. So that means we're both going to go down in flames if we're not right.
Yeah.
So
based on the fact that Franco won every
you.
season, I wouldn't take solace in that.
Well, if I got to go down, I want you to come down with me. That's all I'm saying. I don't want you to get too far out in front of me, and then I'll feel bad about myself.
Ditto.
But anyway, yeah, I think Cavalcante avenges it. The fact of the matter is that Mr. Mack, obviously he fights at heavyweight and probably packs a much harder punch, so it could probably be ended at any time. So it's another fight that's going to be pretty exciting, and you know, it's going to be fun to watch on Saturday. Now, the last fight on the card is literally against two guys that I really don't know shit about. It's one of those fights, so I'm probably going to throw it to Dolo first. I want to know who you think is going to win out of Nashan, the rock and roll. Well, shit. I didn't finish his nickname, so don't worry about it.
All right. Well, I know who you mean. It's
Yeah, it's some
Burrell
stupid nickname.
versus Chris Spang.
Versus,
you know,
yeah, exactly. Chris the Kid Spang, by the way.
I think it might actually be a pretty decent fight. Burrell, he's won 3 straight in Strikeforce, 2 decisions and 1 knockout. He's only 22 years old, 8-1 overall, as I had said. Spang comes in. He's actually tall for 170. He's 6'2". He's 1-1 in Strikeforce. Really likes to strike. So I think this is going to be a good fight. Kind of guys early on in their career, like I said. Burrell's 22, so extremely young. But I think Burrell's going to wind up taking this one and win via decision.
That's true. Yeah. I'm definitely a liar.
Yeah, like I said, I really don't know much about these guys, so I had to really go off their record. Like you pointed out, Nishad's on a 6-fight win streak. I don't know. I think it's going to end in the first round, though. I just picked Burrell first-round knockout, just looking at his record and the way he has finished fights and stuff like that. But it's one of those things that I really literally just kind of flipped a coin and said pick a guy because I really don't know much about them. Franco, who do you got here?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you guys, and I'm not even going to lie. It was a pure guess. I looked at, the records, how old they were, their size, their common opponents. Sprang really had no notable opponents. Burrell, that's when was against James Terry, who's not a big name, but I've seen James Terry fight a few times in Strikeforce. Burrell's a little bit younger, and his record's a little bit better, so I'm taking him by decision. It's that simple.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. All right, you guys got decision. I got a knockout, so I could get a little extra points there. And we got about 4 minutes before I have to hit the wrap-up. So did you boys see that Kimbo Slice is continuing his reign of dominance, taking over the sport of boxing? He won another one, 39 seconds.
Did you see it?
What's that?
Did you see it?
No.
I didn't actually. No, I didn't see
it. I don't know, because I was just wondering if it looked legit. Cause I didn't even know he fought. I'll look it up on YouTube tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, no, this one actually, like, I saw photos, because I just didn't want to watch it this time, so I saw the photo evidence. It looked legit to me, but, those are still pictures, so I really don't know. But if you flip them, if I had them in my hands and I flipped them, I think they would have made a nice video. So this one, from what I read, though, was legit. It was the first round. It was like 36 to 39 seconds, but I believe this guy's record was like 2-7 who he fought, so, it looks like he's stepping up in competition. The guy's had a few fights under his belt, so it was a little bit more dangerous for Kimbo after that close call he had last time out.
Yeah. Also, they got King Mo. Do you see King Mo signed with Bellator and TNA?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Kind of brokered a
How could I forget to bring that up? Nice call, Franco.
Yeah. So that's he's gonna have I guess he's gonna have legitimate fights in Bellator. He's also going to be in TNA, and they were talking about there's a possibility now that once Rampage gets out of there, they can go do a fake angle in TNA and then have a real fight in Bellator. Because Rampage is remember Rampage is obviously a bigger star, so he's going to demand bigger money. And Rampage is also, talks about doing wrestling, but, that could actually turn into something interesting if they can wrangle Rampage over to Spike TV.
I think that'd be great. I think Rampage should go for that. They'd be smart to fucking try to pay him.
Yeah, if both, if they could pay him, you'd be getting that Bellator money and the TNA money. It's not, if both companies combine, obviously with the wrestling thing, you're going to have to make more appearances and stuff, but it's probably less taxing on the body. So that might actually make sense for him to do, where he can make a little bit of money, get exposure. He wants to be in the movies. It'll put him on TV every week. But I'm curious to see how they're going to work King Mo. They tried that shit with Bobby Lashley a couple years ago, and it just didn't really work out too well. Lashley didn't really, he wasn't really that entertaining on television.
Yeah, but Lashley's shitty on the mic. He's never been good on the mic. He's a fucking bore. And obviously we're seeing now that it was all bullshit hype with his MMA career, which I think we all kind of knew that from the get-go because I believe James the Colossus Thompson beat him last week at SFL 3. So that's not exactly stiff competition to get trounced by.
Yeah, I mean, Thompson's been like the punching bag of the heavyweight division for 10 years. And some people think that Lashley...
Exactly.
Some people actually think I was reading that Lashley won the fight, but I didn't see it, so I couldn't say. But I mean, even though the fight was that close, was he made a mistake, man. He left the WWE and he was like, I'm going to take my MMA career slow and this and that. He should have cashed in like Lesnar did, cashed in off of his name because now it's too late. Too late to go back to wrestling. He's not good enough to make any money in MMA, so he's going to have to figure something else out.
Yeah, no, I don't see what he could do though, because he stinks on the mic. I think King Mo. I think he makes his debut in September. He's got a pretty good personality. I don't know if you guys watched the, that Invicta fighting, but he was actually a pretty good announcer on that. Like much better than Phil Baroni's work on Super Fight League. So the guy actually has charisma. He's not sitting there. Have you guys watched any of the Super Fight League? Listen to Phil Baroni fucking announce those fights.
No,
You got to do it, dude.
I've seen some clips, I think, but I've never, like, actually watched it. What did he say? Like, what did he have, like, that?
Phil Baroni, well, his fucking main thing is he's talking about fighters that have nuts and guts, all right? These guys just come out there and swing, and then that's just one of his favorite things. But there was two chicks fighting, they had a chick fight on, and the second girl comes walking out, and this is Phil. It literally goes, "Whoa, look at the body on her, huh?" The other guy goes, "Hey, Phil, what about her fighting ability?" He goes, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Look at her. She's built so well. She's probably going to do pretty good out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what you get over at Super Fight League. It's fucking amazing. You got to start watching it." But Phil fucking Baroni he's just this fucking, he wants to run out there and just start fucking dry humping that bitch. And, it's very professionally run. It's amazing. You got to treat yourselves to a couple clips. It's good stuff. But, I got off track there. I think King Mo's going to be good. He's got a good personality. He's an entertaining guy. And then if they can get Rampage over there, we all know Rampage can work the stick. So, it'll be a good fit for both those guys.
Fucking Dolan's mama. What did you say about my mom? He goes, King Mo can work the stick. I said, so can Jay Dolan.
Hey, man, how else would she have 4 kids under the age of 7 at one point in her life? My brother is fucking Irish twins, 15 months apart.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Well, do you want me to wrap this bad boy up? We got maybe a little under 2 minutes. I got to hit the wrap up in the outro, and we can call it quits, or do you got anything else to say?
Wrap it up. Third period of the game starting at 0-0.
What was that? I missed what you said.
The third period of the hockey game starting at 0-0 still.
Oh, is it really? Shit. All right,
yeah.
I'm going to wrap this fucker up then. I fucking got to get back out
guys,
there.
I'm out of here.
Everybody, remember to check out RotoExperts. Check out thexlog.com. But more importantly, check out Nick Frank at nfrank, RotoX on Twitter. Myself, Cauliflower #4 on Twitter. Stalk Dolan's Facebook. I'll be back on Wednesday just jibber-jabbering about a bunch of, probably wrestling. That's what I usually talk about on Wednesday just because we got nothing else. We're fucking empty souls over there. But that's really about it. And we're Cauliflower for the years, and I guess we're going to tap out here, boys. Later.
Stop.